Good evening and welcome to the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network. I'm Andrew Gus, joining you live here in Chicago at Johnny's Ice House for a matchup between the Indiana Hoosiers and the DePaul Blue Demons. Hoosiers coming tonight at a 10-7 record, facing off against the 14-1 Blue Devils. It should be a great one here tonight. For the goaltenders, off to our left will be Asher Mautow, 7-1 on the season with a 2.90 goals against average. He's got a 92.1 save percentage, so it'll be tough to get some goals against him tonight. On the side of the Hoosiers will be Sammy Billis, 6-1 on the year. He's got a 3.15 goals against average and a 91.9 save percentage. A few keys to the game tonight will be making sure we get lots of shots and hits tonight. 14-1 team, they've got some good competition this year, so they've got some competition on their belt and they're ready to go. A power play, got to make sure that we capitalize tonight. You have no idea what's going to come, so you got to make sure you take advantage of that. And last but not least, getting some momentum on the side of the Hoosiers. We see sometimes a slow start, but tonight if you come out strong and fast, you got those legs coming. Speaking of those legs, a few players to watch out for on the Hoosiers tonight. We have 13 players from Chicago. That's Jack Hawkins, Emiliano Arana, Nicholas Castracane, Jack O'Flaherty, Adam Offenbaugh, Ray Myers, Jack Gustafson, Will Kicker, Ethan DiLorenzo, Tommy McDonald, Ware Jeremy, Andrew Chambers, and Sammy Bella. So a long list of guys here from the Hoosiers, almost half the team, all from Chicago, playing at home. We'll see, is it really a home game or not? And for the side of DePaul will be Michael Helf. He's got 15 goals on the year, 18 assists, as well as Brock Ash. He's got 17 goals and 10 assists on the year. A flasher on the tee tonight will be Louisville facing off against Kentucky, Akron and Xavier, Ohio State facing off against Dayton, and OU and Miami. After warm-ups finish up tonight, we'll have a little ice cut, and then before we know it, we'll be handing off to Garrett Drake and Sam Weixler here for Indiana Hockey.
Hockey at Indiana University is brought to you by the following team sponsors: Corson Fire and Security, the Blue Blazer Events Group, and Top Flight Hockey. On a chilly day near the shores of Lake Michigan, the Bloomington boys have bussed, or as is the case this weekend, driven north on I-65 to the big city, the Windy City to be specific, for a non-conference matchup with a foe featuring numerous familiar faces in a well-known location. After getting back on the tracks with a clean sweep of the TSCHL Cellar Dwellers last weekend in the Xavier Musketeers, Indiana University, sporting a 10-7-0 record, prepares to brave the late autumn squall, as well as a tough opponent in the 14-1 Blue Demons of DePaul University. Live from the Chicago Johnny's Ice House West, just minutes away from the United Center and the old Chicago Stadium location, it's Friday Night Hockey on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network. Alongside Garrett Drake, my color commentator, our head of tech, Ben Stannard, our man on the stats and our pregame, postgame commentator, Andrew Gus, and everyone else associated with our crew, I'm Sam Weixler saying thank you so much for tuning in to Hockey at Indiana University. And boy, do we have an exciting matchup tonight here in Chicago.
And it couldn't be a better time for Indiana to get this road trip to Chicago, Sam, coming off of a sweep last weekend against Xavier, as you touched on, first of the season. And it's going to be great for Indiana to come in here on a 2-game win streak in a hostile environment as well.
Well, this will be a tall task for Indiana to face off against DePaul, a team they haven't played since they split the series back in the 2019-20 season. And Garrett, I have to admit, that was my freshman year here at IU, and my predecessor, Casey Roll, and I missed that trip because we both had some other broadcasts we had to take care of for IU sports. But nonetheless, another good team for DePaul. 14-1, as we said. They are second in the NCHL, their conference, and are first in their division, averaging almost 7 goals a game. And here at their home rink at the Johnny's Ice House of Chicago, on the west side that is, averaging over 7 goals a game against opponents. So that home crowd advantage really makes a difference for them.
And they've really been limiting the shots that they've given up on net as well. And the goaltending has been pretty solid, 92% save percentage for Motu, and then for Grisbeck, he's got a 91.4 as well. So they've been getting good work from their netminders, but they've been lighting the lamp quite a bit, as you mentioned.
They absolutely have. They have been running teams out of the barn and outscored their opponent in the most recent matchup against Aurora, the Spartans. An ugly game in both sides. They only allowed 3 goals in each game and outscored them 20+.
They also took their first loss of the season in that matchup with Aurora as well. So they're the only team who's put a digit in the loss column so far for this DePaul team. It's going to be interesting to see if Indiana can maybe put 1 or 2 of those in as well, because the strength of schedule for DePaul is something that we talked about in our research. It's not quite to the level of Indiana's, so the Hoosiers have been tested a lot more this season.
Well, the starting netminder for Indiana University tonight, back off his little bit of a hiatus. He didn't play last weekend, but he's back between the pipes. It's the slap shot stopping Sammy Billis, a Chicago native. He's got a 6-1-0 record and a goals allowed average of .315. That was a bit inflated after some tough losses, some tough games, including a loss that he took. And the penalty kill didn't do him any favors in a couple of those situations.
Yeah, there were a couple games when Sambo was in there. They were shorthanded the entire third period, and it's tough to keep them off the scoreboard if you're a netminder when you're down a man every single time. And he did a great job holding his own, however, and as you can see from his stats, he's putting together a pretty solid campaign thus far.
On the other side of the sheet, the starting netminder for the DePaul Blue Demons. In the cage is Motu. Asher Motu, in 8 games played, a 7-1-0 record, a goals allowed average of .290, and saving about 92% of the shots he sees. We'll take a quick break so the public address announcer can give us all the starting lineups and the national anthem after that. It's time for Indiana Hoosiers hockey on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network. The Hoosiers traveling this evening and this weekend in their all-red outfits are led by head coach Andrew Weiss in his second year at the helm. As we've mentioned previously, Coach Weiss took over around this time last season, and the boys have never looked back after Coach Weiss was in control all the way toward the ACHA Nationals in this past March of the year. On the other side, in his second year, it's head coach Dan Wood. And Garrett, this is a familiar face for plenty of the guys on the Indiana bench. Coach Wood was an assistant coach for several guys on Indiana, including Adam Offenbach and Andrew Chambers, one of which, number 9 Andrew Chambers, will take the center ice faceoff. Indiana in all red from left to right, Billis in the pipes, and the DePaul Blue Demons here in their home rink in Chicago, Illinois, in white sweaters with red shoulders from right to left. In the cages, Motu. Already Indiana on their heels, poked behind the side of the cage, flipped up into the air, and smacked away into the corner where Chambers chips it against the glass, and Michele tries to clear it. Now moving in is Aiden Simino, who sidesteps a hit. Still on the attack are the Blue Demons, and a shot goes straight into the belly of Sammy Billis, another Chicago native, and the clock freezing at 19:34 here in the opening period. Indiana averaging around 5.5 goals per game and allowing just around 4. On the draw to the stick side of Billis, won by the Blue Demons in the corner, fed to the near side point where Lee pushes it away. Snatched up by Michele over towards Simino on the far boards. At the circle, a quick shot. Punched up into the air and off the glass. Going up and out of play, says the linesman and the referee on the near side. And so we've played just 40 seconds here in the opening frame.
Both goaltenders facing a shot early on, so you know they're awake now if they weren't already. Especially some of these Indiana boys. We know how tough it was driving through the city of Chicago today and getting to this point. They've definitely got some long legs.
Garrett, you're not kidding. We've got some serious Edmund Fitzgerald weather blowing across the lake this afternoon and evening. You and I had quite the drive all the way up north. We even saw a giant traffic barrel flying across the interstate.
Oh yeah, that was something.
And if either of our mothers are listening, yes, we were driving quite safely and had plenty of stopping distance. So Mom, you don't have to worry, and you can go back to listening to the game. Indiana coming off a sweep of Xavier last weekend, a team that, if you ask any of the guys on this team, they'll tell you they really should have beaten more handily than just the handful of goals they beat them by in the past. Last year, they beat them 10-4 and then shut them out 6-0. Nathan Keeney getting the first shutout for Indiana last year. This year, though, a little bit of a struggle, 6-2 and then 9-4. They didn't max out the goal differential in either game, which could hurt them in the ACHA regional standings. Here comes Indiana on a break. Nano Arana thinks about a wrist shot, sauces it over to the far side. A quick chip and it's in! Nano Arana draws first blood for Indiana, and another Chicago boy puts a tally on the board for Indiana. 18:39 to go here in period number 1, and the Hoosiers are in the driving seat on the road.
Goal number 4 on the season for the Illinois native Emiliano Arana as he nets point number 6 in the campaign. He's off to a great start this year. And you talk about the freshmen, Sam, they've been huge for this team early on, and Arana steps up right there. Big game for these Illinois boys.
Right up the ensuing draw, the Blue Demons spend no time in the neutral zone and whack it away. Kept in the zone, Plotke shovels it backhanded, and a quick one-timer from a sharp angle, saved by Billis. He hugged that near side post. Now to Hawkins, lunging forward and pushing it across the blue line. Kept into the zone, Will Jeremy with the A on his sweater and the number 29. Can't seem to keep it, and it will go all the way across the sheet. Waved down for icing, and so just under 2 minutes have been played here at the Johnny's Ice House West.
And Wex, you talk about the Xavier games last week. Coach Weiss, one of the big things that he emphasized was the amount of shots that didn't reach the net that Indiana took. They had 99 shots in the first game and 101 shots in the second game, but only about half of those in each were on goal, which is a lot lower than where they want to be.
Face-off taking place to the glove side of Motu. Here comes Gustafson moving in. Indiana still trying to win it back in the end zone. DiLorenzo sends a man onto his wallet. That's Theodosopoulos. Garrett, a mouthful of a name. Here's Gustafson feeding into the side, jammed out by DiLorenzo. Motu sliding around on his butt and finally covering it up just outside the crease. And a very dangerous play snuffed out by the netminder for the Blue Demons.
Wow, what a save right there. And Wex, we've got a couple former Hoosiers in the building tonight. Cade Kenyon is here as well, and I just saw Vladislav Krush in the building, so we're going to have to make sure we say hi to Vlad before we leave.
Both of those guys played in this series the last time these two sides met, way back in 2019 in September of that year. Played back behind his own net is Solod, and again it slides behind the Bauer logo. Big hit delivered by Offenbach as the puck flutters high into the air and then helicopters back down to the ice. Along the edge of the trapezoid, poked free. A quick one-timer from O'Flaherty. Into the corner again, and he drills a hit. Back through the trapezoid, it slides. O'Flaherty really muscling his way back toward the puck. Fed to Offenbach. A quick shot through the legs, kicked around. To the backside one-timer. Bodies are sliding all over the place. Ray Myers lines up a slap shot. O'Flaherty takes a hit from the back, and that will draw a whistle, but instead it'll be a hand pass on Indiana. So at the 16:58 minute mark in the opening frame, we'll have a whistle for a hand pass.
And one thing that you know you're going to get from DePaul is a physical matchup. As we see right there, O'Flaherty taking the hit from behind. They're not going to back down despite being down 1-0 early. And Indiana, they've been in physical games time in and time out this season. We just got to wonder how long they can take it. But so far, everybody seems to be healthy.
Billy Passion, one of the leading scorers for DePaul, swings a shot on, and Billis catches it at eye level. Just under 17 minutes to play, and Garrett, folks who watch most of the games, or all of them for Indiana hockey, might notice this is a bit of a different vantage point, a different angle of the camera than we're used to at our home barn at the Frank Southern Ice Arena in Bloomington. This is no ordinary barn. This used to be the practice rink for the Chicago Blackhawks. They've even got a Stanley Club over in the corner where they sell alcoholic beverages to patrons who are over 21. Along the far boards, next to the Indiana bench, swatted at and wobbling free. Backhanded into the circle on the far side. Chambers kicks at it and then knocks it to Michelli. He can't hold on to possession, and Myers has to dish it out from his own zone. Along the boards, gloved down by Lee, playing shortstop along the blue line, but it was an over and back. And then a little bit of a shove after the whistle draws some attention, and a meeting of the minds seems to have taken place in front of the Indiana bench, but cooler heads finally prevail, Garrett.
And Wex, you talked about the Stanley Club that's in the bird's eye corner here. We saw some Pee-wee games going on before when we got here, and some of the parents were getting a little buckled watching their kids play, having a good time. So they do it right here at Johnny's.
Well, you mentioned that, Garrett. It just so happens that the Johnny's Ice House East and West are the #1 and #2 sellers of Labatt Blue Light in the state of Illinois. So they definitely move some product.
That's a stat everyone wants to hear right there.
Brock Ash trying to maneuver across the blue line, can't cleanly gain entry, and it's paddled aside by Billis. Scooped up by Hawkins, having his eyes up, pushes it forward, and then a big hit as Ash goes head over heels. Now to Timmons in the corner, the Valparaiso native, just a short drive from downtown Chicago. Indiana is able to gain the puck back, and McDonald, being harassed in his own zone, gets spun around and decides to hand it off to Hawkins. Jack Hawkins plays it to the far boards and smacks it off the scorer's table boards. In front of the DePaul bench, Billy Passion rushing forward. 3-on-2 break, he gets sandwiched and doesn't get the puck free. Now to Hawkins, a little rush. Indiana gains the zone. McDonald to Arana, who's already got one. Pushed along the side. Played forward into the neutral zone by Manarino. He works the center of circle. Deflection, scores! Beautiful one-time finish by Health. And the senior Michael Health has his 16th tuck of the year and is just 2 goals shy of the team lead, evening the score here with just about 5 minutes played in the opening period. An impressive start for both sides that we know are running and gunning, trying to make things happen this weekend.
Yeah, and right there, Health was just in the right place at the right time. He got a beautiful feed for the one-time opportunity, and he was not going to miss putting that one away. We've got a tie ball game.
So a tally apiece for Indiana and DePaul here on Friday night. One again. Plotkin feeds it to the center. His pass ends up at the stick of a red sweater. That's Michelli chopping and hacking away at it before it's yanked free by Chambers. He pushes it along the boards to Simino. Now to Michelli at center ice. Deekson dangles, sets up a shot, bouncing off the glove of Motu. Second chance gets deflected off the leg of a white sweater and into the near side corner where Plotkin plays it free. Avoids the hit on the backside and still trying to get the breakout going. Along the boards, right under our vantage point, Aiden Goodfellow charging back into the corner where Plotkin steals it back. Centering pass, deflected away by Myers. He steps in front of it. Through traffic, Billis is able to kick the shot away off the stick of Presta. Puck leaves the zone and Indiana crosses the center line before getting a change. 14 and change to go here in the first period. 1-1 the score. Theodosopoulos zooming in. Gets smacked around the hands. And now the Blue Demons will have a chance to change. Myers, the smallest guy on the ice, plays the puck forward and it's stolen away. Flung along the boards into the corner. And Timmins throwing his head from side to side, trying to avoid any big hits. Cradles it and pushes it forward under the stick of Gustafson before Motu steps out of the crease and swings it hard into the boards.
We're seeing a pretty aggressive forecheck from both teams here, Sam. They're not giving any space when they're moving up the ice.
Pass through the Johnny's Ice House logo at center ice, goes all the way across the goal line, and that'll bring the face-off back toward Indiana's side of the action. Garrett, you mentioned those youth games that we saw earlier. I noticed this because my mother is a preschool teacher, so once in a while these things will stand out to me. It's kind of interesting. Their smallest youth league for the 2- and 3-year-olds is called Icicles Hockey.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's pretty impressive that kids that young are able to play hockey even, and it's entertaining to watch.
Indiana on a break. Here comes DiLorenzo. Feeds it to the center right under Jack Gustafson's stick. He swivels around, and Warner getting smacked in the side of the head before Hawkins pushes it in front of the glass. Fed to himself. Passion, toe dangles, right in front. Billis slides around and kicks it away. He finally holds onto it, and then Leo Warner delivers a huge crushing check behind the net. And a borderline Donnybrook will ensue. Goodness gracious. This will be a physical weekend, won't it, Garrett?
No doubt about that. And I believe they gave Warner a penalty on that.
Hits already.
We'll see if he goes to the box here.
Hits already standing at 6 apiece, and we're not even to the halfway mark of this first period.
Yep, so Warner's going to the box after that one, and it looks like they're also going to put Danny Manarino in the box.
Danny Manarino, the sophomore, will have his 32nd and 33rd penalty minutes.
You got to think that was a bit of retaliation by Warner for the hit that he took at the end of the play a couple sequences ago. He definitely didn't forget about that one.
Well, both of these teams, interestingly enough, thrive when there's extra space onto the ice. Indiana, we've talked about plenty of times, has scored 3 or 4 goals with a 4-on-4 situation, and the DePaul Blue Demons are not too shabby themselves. Leptic guides it into the zone, but it's immediately stolen back. Raftis has his pocket picked and then gets spun around with some snow on his pants. Into center ice, gaining the zone with some space is Brock Ash. He lets it trickle too far in front of him, and he is met with some force by several different red sweaters. 90 seconds remaining on this 4-on-4 situation. Raftis sidesteps a hit and then flings it the width of the blue line. Now toward Myers, carrying it in, has little trouble keeping it, and then gets sandwiched onto the glass. Raftis tries to dangle around the circle, and it's 9-ironed into center ice. High stick call by the referee to our left-hand side, and so play will be brought to a grinding halt with 71 seconds remaining on this 4-on-4 situation.
Nothing much really formulating on the 4-on-4 for either side yet. Struggling to get through the neutral zone. Got to give credit to both defenses so far, holding the blue line strong.
Indiana winning the draw and have some momentum the other way. Michelli swivels around a man. Now zigzags a quick shot that doesn't find the target, and it's collected in his own corner by a DePaul skater, looks to be Newton. Does a little matchbox stick handling and then fires it into the corner on the near side. Played back where it's Wazilo getting tangled around. Simino knocks it back toward Timmons. His shot through traffic. Deflection attempt by Simino sails up and out of play into the netting. The bit of netting that they do have protecting the glass, Garrett.
And there's one of those shots from the point from Timmons right there that did make it all the way to the net. Indiana's going to be looking for a lot more of those. Pucks on net is going to do a lot of great things for you.
Will Jeremy for the Indiana Hoosiers has been on fire this year, an 11-game point streak. And dating back toward the Michigan State trip when Michigan State got blanked 4-0 on a Saturday afternoon where they really struggled. Here come the Demons entering the zone. Passion thinks about it and then chips into the corner. 20 seconds or so left on this 4-on-4. And Timmons, number 4, spins around in the corner. Keeping his head up, trying to quarterback one last rush with extra space onto the ice. 11.25 minutes to go in the first. DiLorenzo reaches for it. And then a little pirouette before it's poked free by Passion. He back skates along the circumference of the circle before firing in a muffin toward the belly button of Sammy Billis. And so the clock will freeze with a second on the clock on each of those penalties. So as the penalty box doors swung open, they close back up just as fast.
Just 1 second remaining on the penalties, as you mentioned, so Warner's going to be jumping out of there pretty quick.
Not surprising to see a quick start from both teams for the Blue Demons of DePaul against Northern Illinois on the 24th of September. They scored 2 goals within a minute of each other just about 4 minutes into the game. Whacked about along the center circle and played free where O'Flaherty watches it go between his legs, rushing into the zone. Spinning around is Theodosopoulos. He surrenders possession. And it's Hawkins who will have to chase it down near his own bench. Feeding it along to Offenbach, in turn giving it to O'Flaherty in the far corner. He holds through the trapezoid. Surveys his options with 5 aside on the ice now. Roulette wheeling to the far side where Offenbach toys around with it after watching one of his teammates, Brandenburg, go down to his pants. Back and forth the puck goes along the blue line, and that'll draw a whistle. So we are at 11 ticks over the halfway mark in period number 1, and the score standing at 1-1 between DePaul and Indiana.
It's been a pretty even matchup so far. Both goalies getting tested early. But I like what I've seen from the D-men on both sides, really holding it down, not letting many offensive opportunities come the other way, and we haven't seen any odd man rushes either. Big hit by T-Mac right there.
Puck flutters into the zone, and a tie-up in the trapezoid behind Sammy Billis this time. Raftis laying a body. He had to sit out a game against, well, we thought, Garrett, he had to sit out a game against Xavier, but in fact the numbers were switched up, and it was Arana who had to take a seat for a weekend. Will Kicker, another Illinois kid, feeds it to the near side corner, and O'Flaherty gets absolutely drilled. Here comes McDonald by himself through the slot. A quick shot that's kicked away by Motu. Arana digs it away and plays it back to McDonald before he has his pocket picked. Garrett, both sides are finishing their checks with ferocious consequences.
Well, we've seen a couple late changes on both sides too. Players struggling to find an opportune time to get off the ice.
Along the glass on the far side of the sheet, Raftis ties his man up, Leptic, and then Timmons decides to send a sand wedge back into the zone. Gustafson watches it bounce off his tape, and it slides back to Will Jeremy. Good little toey by DiLorenzo before sending a long shot. Gustafson a swing and a drive. Handled by Motu, and the rebound going into the corner. 3 red sweaters can't win it back, and instead carrying it the opposite direction is Newton. He feeds into the zone. Brock Ash on the near side circle. Goes away with it and sonks. Indiana collects it with ease. Now Will Jeremy, the fastest skater on the ice, although doesn't have the hardest shot. From what we've been told, Garrett, that honor belongs to Jack O'Flaherty. Played along the blue line, and Indiana recovers again before offering it back up to the Blue Demons for a change. 8 and 10 seconds to go in the first. Stretch pass attempt deflected down by Chambers, and he collects it again. Fed to the far side, Michelli just off the edge of his tape. Here comes Simino spinning around. Back to Michelli, his centering pass. Finds Myers, a shot, punched up and against the window on the backside. Rugby scrum ensues, and DePaul able to try and start a breakout, but can't finish it. Myers a shot, paddled away into the corner by Motu. Myers paid the price for that one. Simino gets drilled right in front of the crease. Michelli a quick shot, kicked again. Another second chance opportunity. Indiana not able to close the deal on that opportunity. Another big collision. And finally, DePaul is able to put out the fire temporarily. Chambers no-look pass into the center circle before Offenbach gets hit in the side of the head. His marker blows the tire, and into the corner it goes. Offenbach delivers another shoulder check. Posting up behind his own cage is Lee, giving his team a chance to set up for a called play. O'Flaherty appears to have tripped his man, and now the whistle comes as such. So 2 ticks over the 7-minute mark, and Indiana will be down a man for the first time tonight.
Adam Offenbach nearly leaked out in front of the pack there, and a nice diving play made by Solod. He kind of reached out behind with his stick and just got enough of the puck to get it away from Offie.
Sam Solod, the freshman defenseman, playing in his 15th game this season, has yet to put a tally on the board as the goal scorer, but he does have 2 assists coming into tonight. Indiana on the penalty kill, just over 80%, 81.3 to be exact. And the Blue Demons have been pretty darn effective when it comes to power play goals. Minute 45 to go on this 5-on-4 advantage for the Blue Demons. Bouncing off the cage right behind Sammy Billis' shoulder, and he never saw it coming until it bounced back across the crossbar. Sharp angle shot along the goal line. Lee can't line up the one-timer. Chambers goes down to Anita block it. Fed along the crease, poked at, yanked away, and then into the corner. Back behind the cage. Passion goes down onto his side. He got pushed down hard. Another good check as Lee controls at the top of the blue line. Circumference of the near side circle. Back toward Lee, who works the blue line. Centering pass, kicked across. Yanked back to himself is Leptic. His shot is stymied by Billis. 6 minutes to go here in the first. A minute left on this power play for the Blue Demons. Deflection and in! It might have been an own goal, last touched by an Indiana Hoosier. But it doesn't matter. A crooked number up on the board, and the home team back in front. Blue Demons, 2 goals, under 6 to play, and a power play goal for DePaul.
And right there, Indiana didn't get the puck out of the zone for the entirety of that power play. Over a minute before they were able to score, and that's just tough on Sammy right there. He faced a variety of shots from different angles, and the deflection goes in.
Another weird fluky goal. We saw a few weekends ago, Garrett, we saw several weird goals against Louisville where Thompson was in the cage and suffered 3 goals in a row from the same man that found the twine he couldn't do much about, hitting him or a defenseman in the back of the leg. DiLorenzo feeding it right in front, kicked away by Motu. He dragged one of his own defensemen down in the process. Gustafsson gets spun around and now feeds to the center. One-timer by Jeremy, high and back off the glass. He digs in and is able to keep the puck in the zone before giving it up. Fed to the near side, Plotkin gains the zone legally and then gets tangled up. Jeremy throws it right behind DiLorenzo's heels. A big hit that nearly sends a white sweater into the Indiana bench. 5 and change in the first. Indiana on their heels just as they were against Louisville, another solid opponent. Garrett, Indiana has had a penchant over the last few weekends for taking the lead early and then ceding 2 quick goals. Same thing happened against Kentucky. Jeremy can't corral that wobbler, and Plotkin takes it away. One-man show. He gets stifled, and then Jeremy, a hard shoulder check by Newton, then reciprocated by Leo Warner as the puck slides across the blue line lazily. Both sides will get a change. And now Ash sidestepping his way into the zone. Rushing forward, centering pass, chipped away. Back in front by Leptic. He absorbs a shoulder-to-shoulder push. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go here in period number 1. Newton can't control it, and it's fed behind the trapezoid. Errant pass to Leptic, a one-timer. A wicked wrister. And now Timmons, a long stretch pass, a two-liner. McDonald zigzagging across, gaining the zone. Feeds to the backside, no one was there. Again, a one-man rush turns into a 2-on-4. Weaving right in front, Brock Ash couldn't get it to go. It looked like he had Sammy Billis dead to rights.
Wow, what a move by Ash right there.
Indiana trying to deal with the problem behind their own net. Finally pushed forward. Arana sliding around and then bounces it off the leg of a DePaul skater. Indiana, a partial change. Leo Warner picks his head up and throws it against the boards in front of the scorer's table before pushing his man around. Jack Kissel can't hold on to it. And again, back into the Indiana end zone. Garrett, it's not like this Indiana team to spend this much time on their heels. They average over 40 shots a game and allow under 30 against them.
They've been scrambling around this whole first period, just trying to keep the puck out of their zone, as you mentioned, and we can see it paying dividends for DePaul.
Motu clambered out of his crease to push the puck away, and it's Michael Helf on a tear all by himself. Sliding into the trapezoid, centering pass, knocked free. Indiana still trying to prevent a third goal and a doubling of the lead. Offenbach pushing forward in front of the DePaul bench. His pass attempt, and now a backhander goes into the belly of Passion. High chip shot into the center ice, and with 2.5 to go, Indiana still trailing by a goal. Warner dancing around, plays pitch and catch with his deep partner Timmons. Lines had to be shifted around for Indiana a little bit as they're missing several guys, both freshmen and veterans. A quick shot, Billis handled it. Again right in front, Billis watches it go under his leg and scores. DePaul doubles their lead, it's 3-1 with 2.5 to go here in the first. And Garrett, just as it happened against Kentucky and Louisville, the same has happened here in Chicago. An early goal by Indiana, followed up by several quick goals by the opposition, putting Indiana back in a bad position.
And Manarino spent some time in the box earlier in the period, and he's able to tuck that one under Billis right there, who didn't even know the puck wound up in the back of the net. And it looks like a lot of the Indiana players were trying to figure out where the puck is, so they're going to have to wake up in the second.
As we mentioned, most, if not all, of the Indiana skaters from the state of Minnesota are back at home and have not been able to play this weekend. And Jack Knoll, the senior, is also unable to make the trip to Chicago. Simino spins around, a quick shot handled by the chest of Motu. Myers feigns a shot and instead swings it to the corner. Chambers, centering pass. Simino can't get the one-timer lined up. Carried free by Theodosopoulos. His pass trickles all the way across, and they're able to clear the zone before Indiana picks it up again. Brandenburg, head first, charging across. Centering pass by Simino, kicked away by Motu yet again. Simino by himself, under the stick of Chambers. Brandenburg a shot. It goes into the leg and under the skate blade of Presta. He clears the puck free of his own zone. And Indiana will have to deal with this again. Still down by 2 goals as they clear the zone, but cede possession yet again. 69 seconds to go here in this opening period in Chicago between DePaul and Indiana. Opening goal by Indiana, scored by Nano Arana, and then 3 unanswered goals for the Blue Demons thus far. Puck flutters high into the air around our height, and then back down to the sheet. Kick to himself, that's the senior Aiden Goodfellow. His stick gets yanked up into the air, and it hits the person working the scorer's table. Garrett, we know there's not a whole lot of protective netting, but I hate to see that come into our direction, either to the DePaul Hockey Network broadcasters or onto our side. We're going to have to keep our head on a swivel.
If we weren't already, we definitely are now. My goodness, he took it like a champ, though.
Gustafson lunging forward, gains the zone, has some space. Can't get a feeding pass into the front. Now DiLorenzo chases it around. Wobbler that finds the stick of Brock Ash, the captain. He lays a big hit and then chops a man on the top of the head. Leo Warner went down onto all fours, and it's touched up by Motu. But my goodness, whether it was intentional or not, looked like it had to have hurt Leo Warner, who got smacked on the backside of the head like a little brother.
Yeah, and Ash going straight to the box right there. He knew what he did, and he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, if you will. And Indiana looks like they're going to be starting the second period on the man advantage here.
Well, that's their captain, Garrett, and I'm curious to see whether they will show him the gate and an early exit, because we've seen for intentional head contact before in Indiana games, players on both sides, not just Indiana, being shown the door when they intentionally come in contact with an opponent's head.
Yeah, tough to see right there.
They can't handle you!
Looks like high stick will be the official call on the ice, and so Indiana will get a chance with 5.6 seconds in the first to start this power play. And for DePaul, they'll be without the services of their captain, Brock Ash, for 2 minutes. Pardon me now, 5 minutes. It's a nickel, Garrett, up on the board, a 5-minute major. So this sentence will not be commuted. That's a felony on Ash. But with 5 ticks remaining in this frame, Indiana will have little to no opportunity to make something happen. So with the score standing at 3-1, Indiana trailing as we head to the locker room. Alongside Garrett Drake, I'm Sam Weixler. Don't put that phone or tablet down. We've got the intermission show with Goose, Andrew Gus, in the house, giving you a recap on the shots on goal, hits, face-offs, and everything in between, as well as the official goal scorers on the score sheet that we will retrieve momentarily from the far side of the ice. Garrett, 4 minutes and 55 seconds of a major power play up on the board for Indiana when they come out of this break.
They're really going to have to take advantage of it, Sam, and if they're able to score a goal on it early, they're still going to have the man advantage for the remainder of the 5 minutes. So maybe they score a couple and equalize the game here. That would be the best case scenario for them, but they can't let this one get away.
Well, as we have it up here, thanks to our expert statistician, Goose, shots on goal 18-13 in favor of Indiana. And that's not unexpected, Garrett. That's much like this Indiana team to outshoot their opponents going into the first intermission. Any other thoughts before we hit the break?
Yeah, Indiana got off to a great start, but DePaul really stepped up the physicality and the pace of play, and Indiana got caught in their own zone the whole time, and you know they're going to make some adjustments coming into the second, and I think those are a couple things that Coach Weiss is going to touch on.
Well, a major power play up on the board for Indiana. 4 minutes and 55 seconds of it. And in the box for DePaul, their captain, Brock Ash. Alongside Garrett Drake, I'm Sam Weixler. I'll see you in the third as always. This is Hockey at Indiana University on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to Indiana Hockey. I am Andrew Gus, joined alongside Garrett Drake. Garrett's 20 minutes in the books, and we are down 3-1. Not what we've seen so far this year with Hoosier hockey. Garrett, explain a little bit.
Yeah, and we talked about how Indiana jumped out to a lead early on, and then they gave it up with 3 straight goals, and they were just putting themselves in tough situations. I feel bad for Sammy. They've had the puck in their own zone the entire time, and he's been in some tough spots, but I would look for them to take advantage of the 5-minute penalty at the beginning of the period. They're still going to have 4:55 of it, and if they score, the penalty is going to continue. So they've still got plenty of time to get back in it, but they got to go fast.
You're right about that. A questionable call there at the end of the first period there. Just 5 seconds left. Leo Warner took a stick straight over the head, and I'm sure that probably hurt, but a 5-minute all-you-can-eat penalty here is something that the Hoosiers could really use at a critical time. The start of the second period, lots of time left in this game, and even get 1 goal here, get yourself down to 1. They always say 2 goals is the worst lead to have in hockey, so if the Hoosiers can find a way to capitalize at least a little bit here, or find a way to get some momentum, they finally bring out their energy and strength. I was telling you just a few minutes ago, looks like DePaul is the faster team tonight. We know the Hoosiers are one of the fastest teams here in the ACHA D2 level. However, tonight it just looks like they don't have it right now. But that seems to be one of the reoccurring themes. The first period is a little slow, and we start to ramp out more and more from there. So what do we think is going to happen here in the next 2 periods as we've seen from the past?
I would expect Indiana to try to put an emphasis on trying to get the Blue Demons away from the net when the puck gets close to Billis, because they were crowding the crease, making it very difficult on him to see in some situations, and they need to get some bodies on those guys and get them out of there. So I would look for that to be a focal point, and then just trying to get passes across the ice and move the puck forward.
I think that sounds great, G. Garrett and I will join you in just a few minutes. In 5 minutes when the Zamboni's done, we'll be back here on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network.
And welcome back to Johnny's Ice House West for the beginning of period number 2 between the Indiana Hoosiers and the DePaul Blue Demons. The Blue Demons currently leading 3-1. I'm Garrett Drake alongside Andrew Gus. And as we talked about in the intermission show, Indiana will open up with a man advantage for the next 4 minutes and 55 seconds, no matter what happens, unless they take a penalty themselves, which better not happen because it has happened at times this year where they've taken penalties while up a man. So they got to be disciplined, but they got to be aggressive at the same time.
And G, also someone we did not mention between periods, Billy Passion. He's been a part of every single goal so far scored. He's got, I believe, 1 goal and 2 assists on the night. So every time that DePaul has put a puck in the back of the cage, Billy Passion's been all over it.
Passion, their leading point scorer on the season thus far, and he's put together quite a campaign, and he showed why. We're about set to drop the puck in period number 2, and then we'll have it underway.
O'Flaherty, Will Jarami. And Drew Michelli, the 3 out there.
And Jarami controls the face-off. McDonald over to Warner behind the net. He pirouettes and plays it over to himself, and Jarami chases it down. Trying to set up a play here, it looks like. You can tell they drew something up during the break. They knew they were going to be on this man advantage, and that puck goes high over by us and out of play.
There's our first row souvenir.
After we saw Goody's stick fly into the PA announcer scorer's table area, we knew we were going to have to be on high alert for the rest of the game, and a puck goes flying up near us right there.
Yeah, this is actually more dangerous than Kentucky's setup, where there's no netting at all in front of us. We're almost part of the game.
Which is saying a lot, because we were on death row, it felt like. Now we really are. Warner from the point sends one on that gets blocked out in front. O'Flaherty was there, but he couldn't get a stick on it. Now McDonald from the far dot plays it behind to O'Flaherty. Jarami centers one off the pad, and O'Flaherty now playing it back to the corner. Indiana getting a couple quick shots on this power play. Again, Michelli rips one that gets blocked away. A nice play made by Motu right there. And now the Blue Demons will try to kill some time.
Right here, some classic Hoosiers kill off right there as they just take some time out of the clock.
And coming in shorthanded, they score. And that is not what you wanted to happen if you're Indiana. A shorthanded goal scored by Leptic, and he picks up number 6 on the season right there. Another breakdown in communication, and it leads to a DePaul goal. It's 4-1.
Yeah, definitely not what you were hoping to do there. Just a minute and a half into that power play right there. Still got 3:34 though, so still lots of time to be optimistic here. Find a way to get a puck in the back of the cage.
Indiana wins the face-off. 3.5 minutes remaining on the penalty. Castricani works through the zone. Dangles in. He got a little too deep, and now he's into the corner. As we get the thunderous announcement from the PA announcer here. DiLorenzo back over. Castricani shoots one on that gets knocked away, and they blew the whistle. Motu did not have the puck. It squirted loose, but they gave him the whistle.
As a former ref, I know he definitely lost sight of that one there in the corner. It looked like it came off weird. And the Hoosiers might have got one taken away from them there.
DePaul wins the draw in their own zone, but Indiana able to control it. Gustafson finds Kissel behind the net, and he plays it over to Jack Hawkins. 2:50 remaining on the Indiana power play. Hawkins shoots one that gets blocked away by Motu, and they clear it. Well, the DePaul penalty kill is already +1, and they're looking for a huge kill if they can get rid of this major.
Power play has not been as crisp as it had in the last few weeks, that's for sure.
DiLorenzo swoops in. Castricani works his way around. Puts on the brakes. Gustafson centers, but nobody was there. Indiana looking a little discombobulated, trying to get the puck in here. Cross ice pass finds Michele, shoots one on Gustafson to the backhand, and it gets blocked away by Motu. He's looked pretty solid in the net so far. And Gustafson shoots that one way past the net. Motu this season coming into today had a 92% save percentage. And he's had a heck of a game so far. Warner plays that one over. DiLorenzo now just a minute and a half remaining on the penalty. Centering pass gets knocked away from Michele. And sliding down on both legs right there was Chucky Secor, and the cross ice pass missed DiLorenzo. Castricani finds Michele, centers, and that one knocked away.
The Hoosiers had to have upwards of 6 missed passes here so far, as they are just not on track with getting tape to tape right now.
Good stick work by Brass Penix to get that one out of there. Final minute of the major, and Indiana really has not had any opportunities from it. Now leaking out, they find O'Flaherty, but he gets knocked off the puck. Warner finds O'Flaherty. Now McDonald gains the zone. McDonald whiffs on the pass, but it finds the stick of Jeremy. He shoots one, and it's off the pipe, and they score!
That's going to be Jack O'Flaherty.
My goodness, the shot from Jeremy rang iron, and it was just rolling through the crease, and O'Flaherty tapped it home.
The old knuckle puck.
So that's going to be goal number 4 on the season for O'Flaherty, and Jeremy's point streak is now at 12, Goose.
Quite a player, Jeremy. And there you go. They finally got one in there. Still on the power play, 33 seconds to go. And the lead cut to back to 2.
So they get back the shorty. So no harm, no foul, if you will, if they can get rid of these final 30 seconds without giving up another one. McDonald. Back to Michele at the point. He works his way in. Now Warner, they had Jeremy in the dot ready for the one-timer, but he got muscled off the puck. And that's going to do it for the penalty. So Indiana still trailing by 2, but it could be a lot worse. 5 minutes into the period, we're looking at a 4-2 DePaul lead. Bodies colliding right in front of us as Offenbach gets pushed down from behind, that puck bouncing high near the ceiling. And Chambers takes a big hit. Now working in. Nice play by Chambers, poking that one away, and now Ash finds it at the blue line. He was the one guilty of the penalty on Warner, and that one goes way over the net. Kept in by Lee. Now Brock Ash centers one, but nobody was there. Finds Maloney. One-timer gets whiffed on and rolls in front of Billis. That one looked like it hit him in the pad, nearly found the back of the net somehow. Leaking out is Simino, and he gets muscled off the puck. And a big hit right in front of us. Chambers laying the wood right there. We don't see Andrew Chambers hit that often, but he got a good one on there. Timmons gets put head first into the boards. And now a centering pass finds nobody off the stick of Cohen. Chambers in pursuit behind the DePaul net. They're able to get out of there. And it's passed forward by Brass Penix. 13.5 minutes to go here in the second period from Johnny's Ice House. Arana, who scored the first goal of the game to give the Hoosiers an early lead. Shoots one off the pad, and Motu able to cover it up. Indiana so far with 8 shots on goal compared to just 2 for DePaul, but one of those ended up being a shorty for the Blue Demons, and hits are currently at 6-5 in favor of DePaul, and Indiana has won all the faceoffs in this period, as I thought I was about to jinx them, but they won that one too.
And the stats are totally going in favor of the Hoosiers. We've seen this before, but the scoreboard has a different story.
Marcelletti rings that one around. Goodfellow trying to get the puck out of there, and he's able to. Arana unable to catch up to that one, but they gain the zone. Arana lays a hit, and now McDonald chases after it. Centering pass finds Arana, but it got knocked away. It looked like right there Marcelletti got his stick in. We've seen that a couple times where Indiana has a centering pass, but a DePaul player just sticks their stick in there at the right second. And now a shot but goes behind the net. I thought that one might have went in. That one was put on by Brass Penix. Now racing the other way is McDonald. He centers one, and whiffing on the one-time attempt was Gustafson. Now Manarino centers it, but just a little bit out of the reach right there of Passion. Gustafson got a little bit too deep. Now he works back around. Warner finds the puck and he shoots, and that one hits a DePaul player out front. It looks like it was blocked by Helf. DiLorenzo rings that one around, and now the puck sits in the neutral zone. Gustafson gloves it down for D'Lo. DiLorenzo works in, he shoots behind the net. Now he gets his own shot back and tried a backhand attempt, but nobody was there. Bodies are flying here as we reach 11 and a half minutes to go, and a stuff shot in front. And now DiLorenzo is getting double teamed by a couple Blue Demons there.
Another loose puck on net there right in the blue paint. And whistle blown early once again.
And Indiana's now up to 11 shots on goal in the period, Goose, just 3 for DePaul. And D'Lo took a bit of a beating on that shift on multiple occasions. I'm sure he feels welcome to be back home.
A very physical period so far again. And one of these shots is going to have to fall sooner or later for the Hoosiers in this period. 4-2, the scoreboard, again, as I said earlier, just does not seem to be defining the way this game is going and the way the momentum, I feel like, right now has shifted.
DePaul able to win the face-off in their own zone and work their way out. Newton plays that one around behind the net. Ray Myers with a backhand pass. There were a couple instances in the first period where they got the puck down deep and Myers ended up clearing it, taking some pressure off Billis. That was one positive thing I thought he did quite well. Leo Warner did it a couple times as well. And it looks like they're going to call a hand pass on O'Flaherty there. Held it just a bit too long. Seems like the 50-50 calls aren't quite going Indiana's way to this point.
Yeah, not at all. You see the referees giggling around a little. You wonder if an accidental call may have happened.
Indiana putting some pressure on. That puck nearly caught our camera. That was a close one. And then at the end of the play, Hawkins gets run into, and he's not going to like that. This game just keeps getting more and more physical.
And that's one of the usual things we see here from the Hoosiers. A lot of physical games, fast games, very competitive games, you know. And this was one of those games you looked at the schedule, and right now at this point in the season, you see a 14-1 DePaul team. I mean, that's a difficult opportunity going to a different building, playing them, although we have quite a few hometown heroes here today on the Hoosiers.
That was Chris Lee who hit him after an icing call, something you don't see very often. Goodfellow has that one blocked away by Motu. And Castracani fighting for possession. Goodfellow gets the puck out of harm's way, and it finds Kicker. Now glove down by Lee. Lee works his way in, centering pass, gets knocked away. Theodosopoulos was ready for the opportunity, and here come the Hoosiers. Arana, centering pass, missed kicker. Now Warner from the point sends one on. Kicker blocked it out in front. Now a shot by McDonald goes wide. Motu may have got a piece of that one. And that's going to be a high stick if Indiana touches it. But a Blue Demon does first. Backhand pass by Warner finds Plotkin, and he gets run into. Plotkin behind the net. Centers it, and it might have hit a skate out front. And the puck wobbles out. Now a one-timer gets blocked. A nice play by Timmons. And they've got Arana and McDonald out and racing. Arana has that one blocked out in front. And the puck is kept in by Hawkins. McDonald gets pushed down out in front of the net as the puck was loose, as we're down to 9:05 remaining in the period. Lots of back and forth action in these past couple minutes. And we've seen quick changes on both sides. Michelli dangles his way in, gets taken down from behind. No penalty on the play, however. Now Ray Myers slaps one that goes over the crossbar. And into the corner they go. As we're trying to depict what's going on from our vantage point. It looks like a scramble of bodies down there. And now Hawkins from the point. That one blocked out front, and he's going to feel that one. Marcelletti put his body on the line, and he's going to have some trouble skating around here. It's a 5-on-4.5 for Indiana as Marcelletti cannot move. And let's see what happens here. It appears we're going to have a DePaul penalty.
We'll take it.
It's going to be Secor who will take a seat. So Indiana back to the man advantage with 8:09 to go in the period.
All the boarding there.
So for Secor, that's his 28th and 29th penalty minute of the season. He spent a decent amount of time in the sin bin so far. And Indiana with one power play goal already will try to add another. Indiana 50% on the power play today, 1 for 2. As Manarino coming in shorthanded, but he gets surrounded by Hoosiers. Now they're going to have numbers the other way. Jeremy racing in behind the net. He does a wraparound. It's still loose, so Flaherty whacks at it, and it's covered by Motu. A golden opportunity for Indiana right there, and nobody could tap it home.
And gee, the last few moments, I feel like we've seen a lot of traffic in front of the net. The Hoosiers have not had a great opportunity finding a clear lane towards the cage, and all of that is really adding up.
Indiana with 14 shots on goal in the period. DePaul with just 4. And Indiana's won every faceoff except 2, as there's a 1.5 minutes remaining on the power play and 7.5 minutes in the second. Working his way in, Ash had that attempt blocked out front, and Warner plays it up for Semino. Excuse me, that's Jeremy. McDonald leaves it for O'Flaherty, now back to Jeremy. And they're able to clear to burn some more time off this penalty. Fresh legs on the ice for the Blue Demons now. Jack Kissel is on for Indiana along with Gustafson. DiLorenzo works his way in, shoots one that gets blocked away by Motu. However, the puck is still loose in the Indiana offensive zone. From the point, Hawkins has that one blocked right out in front. Hawkins just tries to get it towards the net, but hit a couple legs and goes wide, and the puck goes into the Indiana bench.
Still got 25% left to go here on the man advantage for the Hoosiers.
Castricani drops the face-off there as a centering pass by McDonald gets knocked away and back into the netting. That was actually Gustafson. So we'll line him up again. DePaul has been the more physical team so far this period, given the fact they have been killing a couple penalties. 10-6 is the current lead in the hits department for them.
We don't have block shots, but something tells me they might be leading that category as well.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling that tomorrow as well. A couple from point-blank range.
But those opportunities really being taken away from the Hoosiers, all the traffic in front, so props to them.
Gustafson behind the net. Castricani sends one on. Now the puck squirts out in front, and it's cleared out. That'll do it for the penalty. Hawkins plays that one back for DiLorenzo as he chases after it. 6 minutes and change remaining in the second. And a centering pass. Passion took a baseball swing at that one, and Indiana has a 3-on-2 the other way. Offenbach loses possession, but the puck is kept in the zone by Goodfellow. Now DePaul working it around. That pass goes high into the air and is gloved down by kicker. Five and a half minutes to go now. Lots of back and forth action through the neutral zone in these past couple minutes. That puck hits off of Arana and nearly takes out Coach Matt Granda over there on the bench. They got to keep their heads up over there.
Right about that. Look, also, we got to shout out the guy in the box over there across the way. He's doing the clock, the score sheet, and music. And from personal experience being over there, it's not the easiest job, and he's doing all of that. So he's done quite a good job today, isn't that right, Gene?
No question about that. Absolutely surgical. Clinical, surgical. They both sound pretty smart, so got to go to school for a long time. O'Flaherty tries to gain the zone, and he finds Michelli. Michelli works his way in, and he gets drilled into the boards after letting that shot go. He gets right to his feet as the puck goes into the Indiana bench once again. Michelli got drilled right there, but he got up right away.
Yeah, he's one of those tough ones.
.452 is what the clock reads in the second, and the score reads 4-2 in favor of DePaul.
In period two.
Right you are, my friend. Chambers gets checked in the back and pushed up against the boards. Kicking at the puck and coming away with it for DePaul and making an outlet pass is Health. Now working his way in. Passion loses possession. Health will just send that one in, and Leo Warner will chase it down. Timmons dodging a couple defenders. Now he'll try to go to work. Semino gives it away, and now working in through the zone is Passion once again. Passion had a couple of whacks at it, but the puck finds Griffin Timmons. 3:40 remaining.
Everywhere the puck is, Passion's there as well.
Warner lays a hit, and Jerami controls it. Brock Ash blew a skate blade right there, and Indiana will have numbers the other way. Warner dodges a check and then takes one. Behind the net, Gustafson taken down from behind. Now he works his way in, he shoots, that one deflected, and they score! Jack Gustafson, the hometown kid, has brought Indiana to within one off a rebound off his own shot.
And I knew he was going to score today. I'm not going to take any little genie magic here, but Gussie told me the last time he played at this rink, he actually had a hat trick, and he's had some good luck with the Nets here and scoring. So that legacy continues on, and now the Hoosiers down 4-3.
Goal number 9 in the freshman campaign of Jack Gustafson. So now he and Arana, 2 freshmen scoring for the Hoosiers here in Chicago.
2 Chicago freshmen as well.
That'll go down as an icing. Indiana continuing to dominate in the dot. And just like that, we have a ball game. It's going to make for a very interesting third period.
Gee, before you get too excited, we still got 3 minutes left here in the second. Maybe the Hoosiers will plug another one away.
The only thing worse than a 2-goal lead, some would say, is a 1-goal lead. DePaul is on their toes now. Arana has that one taken away from him, and taking a couple checks there was Theodosopoulos, excuse me. Ooh, they had Lee on the back door, but a nice check and pushed him off the puck. Now bodies colliding back and forth. Lee comes out with it, centering pass, and a shot whiffed on. They had another opportunity. That was Presta, who lost possession before he could get the shot off. A couple dangerous looks for DePaul here. Theodosopoulos gets that one knocked away, and finally Castricani is able to get somebody out, and now a couple players tangled up behind the play. It's Myers with Marco Presta, and we'll see who they call the penalty on. It looks like it's going to be on Ray.
I think they're taking both. Wow, maybe not.
And it looks like it's just going to be Myers going to the box. It looks like he might have got caught with his stick wrapped around the body of Presta, and then they both hit the ice after that.
Maybe a different vantage point from what we got here up there on the goal line. So. Well, 2:01 left on the board and 2 minutes on the clock to kill for the Myers penalty.
And Lee gives away the zone right off the bat there. It looked like a hook. We'll wait for the final call. And a centering pass, they score right away as soon as they go on the man advantage. It's a DePaul goal scored by Passion. So right there, Billy Passion adds another goal to his total. He had 18 coming into today, and he's now at 19 on the season. Health was shaken up after the play, and he appears to be all right now as he heads to the bench. And Indiana, again, feeling the pressure. As soon as they go a man down, they give up a goal. Leptich has that one knocked away. 1:40 remaining in the period as Gustafson blocks that one down. DiLorenzo chases after it. It's going to be a race for the puck, and a couple of bodies collide, and they call an icing.
Definitely another silly icing call, I think. I mean, that's a very close foot race there, and they blew it before he was even there.
Number 16 and 2 minutes for roughing at 2:01 in the second period. Scored by number 72, Billy Passion, assisted
Gonna have to wait a little bit before I can hear myself talk, as we're down to 1:18 in the period. Indiana back down by 2. Billis leaves that one down for Timmons. And now Drami racing up the ice. Tried to get through a couple defenders, and it's not going to work. Now Ash coming in, loses possession, and then bodies go colliding. Leo Warner able to gain possession. DiLorenzo plays that one in the neutral zone, but no Indiana skaters in the area. Here's a shot sent on that gets gloved down by Billis. Passion was looking for another one right there. Warner lays a check. And Passion again swooping in, finds Manarino. Manarino shoots and he scores. 17 seconds left in the period. And DePaul now with their biggest lead of the game at 6-3.
And if I'm not mistaken, Passion's got 5 points on the night.
And that's the second goal for Manarino as well.
This line so far tonight has been deadly.
So final 15 seconds of the period here. Indiana wins the faceoff. Myers plays it back for Jack Hawkins. And that's going to do it for period number 2. Indiana got themselves back into the game, but just like that, they give up a couple goals. And it'll be 6-3 as we have just 20 minutes remaining in this one. Goose and I will be back for the intermission report momentarily, so we're going to take a quick break. You've been watching Indiana Hockey on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network. I'm Andrew Gus, joined alongside Garrett Drake. Garrett, another period, and another one we were hoping to get back there. Can you explain the 6-3 score?
Yeah, well, they got right back into it. They gave up a shorty right away, which is the one thing we said couldn't happen, but then they did a good job keeping a level head and just kept on pushing, and they were able to cut it to 4-3, and then after that, you know, they were just unable to really do anything as we got a bit of an attack there from behind, but it's all right. We're going to persevere, but Indiana has to do the same thing.
There's still 20 minutes left. I always say this, 67% of the way through, so lots of time left. 3 goals is a lot, but with this team and this offense, it's very possible to be done. The defense has to get cleaned up a little bit. Billis, again, hung out to dry. 6 goals in 2 periods. That's not the same Billis we know and love. He's not been helped out much tonight, but again, lots of time left. 20 minutes, that's a lot of time. So there's definitely an opportunity, and this game is still far from over. In 20 minutes, we'll hand it back over to G and Wex for period 3 of Indiana hockey.
Camera's off. It's off. The camera is off.
Hockey at Indiana University is brought to you by the following team sponsors: Corson Fire and Security, the Blue Blazers Events Group, and Top Flight Hockey. Well, 40 minutes are in the books and 20 are up on the board for the final frame of regulation. The score, Indiana trailing by a field goal here at DePaul in Chicago, Illinois. Alongside Garrett Drake, I'm Sam Weixler back on the call. And Garrett, you had quite the second period to call. A lot of flip-flop back and forth, some power play goals for both sides, and a lot of action, pushing and shoving, to say the least.
Yeah, and there was lots of excitement when Indiana was able to get back into the game. They cut the deficit to 4-3, but then they gave up 2 straight DePaul goals. Both of them kind of flukes on the other side of the net that Billis was unable to cover, and just like that, they're back down 6-3. DePaul has doubled up the Hoosiers here.
Well, Indiana in their red sweaters from left to right. Still in the cage is Sammy Billis. This is tied for his season high in goals allowed. 6 goals allowed through 40 minutes. DePaul Blue Demons in white sweaters with the red shoulder pads and blue bottoms from right to left. Back in the cage is Motu. Indiana vastly out shooting DePaul through 2 frames. But what matters on the big board is that 6 goals that DePaul has managed to put through so far. Here's Helf, a quick shot. Paddled away. Another good save, kicked into the corner. Billis punches it back down. A rebound falls into the lap of a DePaul skater. And that's yanked away by Lee. He zigzags through the defense. Backhanded shot. Off the fireplace and through the trapezoid. Collected by Gustafson, but again, he can't corral that bouncing puck. Into the corner on the far side. Indiana on their heels again. Saucer pass all the way across the neutral zone. And it cruises through the goal line, which will result in an icing call headed back the other way.
Already close to a minute into this final frame. Indiana's going to have to get to work quick. They need 3 goals to get the equalizer, and they've got a long road ahead of them.
Face off to the glove side of Sammy Billis, won by Indiana. Timmons pitchforks it to the blue line, but it's kept in. Here comes Ash racing around. Shot right into the glove of Billis. And so just a minute and change have elapsed here in the final frame of regulation. Indiana also winning the vast majority of face-offs. Only 2 offensive zone wins for the Blue Demons in that middle frame. Big collision as McDonald sends his man spiraling. Motu moves out of his crease and collects it for his D-man to play forward. Gloved at the blue line, Gustafson swings and misses. That's Hawkins, a quick shot. Waffle boarded into the air and off the glass. McDonald punches a pass and roulette wheels it to the far side. Plotke turns tail and pulls it into the near side corner now. Errant pass chopped at, and McDonald right in front of us in the blind spot. And the puck cruises over toward the legs of Respenix. He gets decked, and all the way across the stretch pass, right in front, fed to the backside, off the corner and in. Theodosopoulos puts a 7th goal on the board for the DePaul Blue Demons. A touchdown to a field goal. 2 minutes into this third period, and Indiana are really in trouble here on the road.
It feels like every single goal we've seen today has just been the same story. Cross ice pass to the weak side, and nobody's there to cover, and Billis just doesn't have time to react on that one.
Lucas Theodosopoulos came into this evening with 5 goals and now adds one up on the board again. Solod feathers it across the center line and played back toward Offenbach. He kicks it to himself. A man shadowing him, draped all over his back. Now O'Flaherty moves in. Offenbach swinging and missing on the pass. Thinks about his center and then breaks his own ankle moving along. Pushed forward over toward Presta. He gains the zone legally, crisscrosses, and the centering pass deflected by Offenbach. Pushed along the wall where Presta plays with it. And kickers attempt to clear failed. Here comes Presta, a backhander. Kicked away, pillow saved by Billis. Will Kicker slides it forward into the corner and then chases down Motu, who's clambered out of the crease. Big collision. Kicker gets tied up and fastened around with one of the DePaul skaters. Now played forward toward Presta, again on the rush. His line mates change, and 3 minutes have been played here in the third period. Just 3 goals for Indiana, although Will Jeremy did get an assist in that second period and has added to his 11-game point streak, make it 12, Garrett.
He's been on quite the tear and really a bright spot for this Indiana team. They have had some struggles recently, but Jeremy has been consistent.
He leads the team in points this year with 30 even. Make that 31 after that assist, 16 and 15. Coming up for Indiana, tomorrow we'll be back on the air at 7 p.m. local time. That's Central Standard Time, now that the clocks have changed for the fall and winter. Next weekend, 2 weekends from now after Thanksgiving, it'll be a home-and-home against Cincinnati, a former and then future TSEHL opponent. A quick shot from Semino on a sharp angle, gloved cleanly by Motu. And Indiana will force a draw in the attacking third. Shots on goal coming out of the third period, 5-1 in favor of DePaul. A complete flip-flop from what we saw in the first 2 periods. Draw won by Indiana. Through traffic, Timmons can't get it to go through the trees. Back skates through the center circle. Semino flings it across the blue line, and Michele gains the zone. He turns tail and has to toilet bowl it from near to far. Back again is Lee. He gets spun around, picks his eyes up, and fires a pass to Marcelletti. Little weak shoulder check, sends a man into the boards. That was Secor. Secor had a goal already this evening as well. Long stretch pass over to Semino. He sidesteps a would-be checker and then dumps it back toward Timmons as Indiana gets a change. Jeremy, the man on the hot streak, leaves it forward, and Brandenburg gains the zone for Indiana. He gets hit around the hips and goes down into his shin protectors. Into the corner on the near side. DiLorenzo can't kick it back to himself. And a 3-on-1 rush. Here comes Manarino. Thinks about a shot. Centering pass. Kick saved by Billis. Another odd man rush the other way, this time for Indiana. Lunging forward is Jeremy. He couldn't catch that pass that DiLorenzo intended for him. And the puck wobbles like a top in no man's land. Hawkins gets spun around and again turns the puck over. Plotke swivels a little bit and then slings the puck all the way across as icing was waved off. Puck jumps up off the windowsill and it's kicked from DiLorenzo to Hawkins. Hawkins, the D-man, decides to send it in, and his side will get a quick change. Well, Indiana has a power play goal this evening, and since going 0 for 25 to start the year on the power play, they are 36%. That doesn't change things that they are still back on the schneid, Garrett.
Yeah, they've improved the numbers, but it's easy to improve when you started at 0, so they've still got some work to do.
Castracani digs into the corner. McDonald racing around the edge of the cage, and then Castracani gets turned around again. Trying to spin around Brest Penix. Picked off in open ice. Kicker slings it around the windowsill, and Motu gathers it behind his own net, leaving the cage vacant for a moment.
He's left the cage vacant a couple times in this third period. He just wants to keep the clock running, it appears.
Garrett, do you think that'll come back to bite him at some point?
Well, they've got a 4-goal lead, so it would have to bite him a couple times, but I guess to every man his own.
Plotke sidesteps it and then gets drilled exacting a little bit of revenge on his own as he goes for a change. Another big hit. And these boys are really still trying to throw the shoulders around Garrett despite this wide margin. Played forward. Here comes O'Flaherty. Has a man to the backside. Quick shot off the shoulder pad of Motu. He had Offenbach in tow to the far side. Now a rush the other way. Here comes Brock Ash, the captain. Looks like DePaul got a little bit jumpy, and they'll be called for offside. 13:21 to go in the third period. Still the score 7-3 in favor of the Blue Demons over the Hoosiers.
This period's flew by. We're already down to 13:21 remaining, Wex, and no opportunities for the Hoosiers to this point.
Well, through 6.5 minutes or so in the third period, it looks like the wind is completely out of the sails of the visitors. Indiana getting out-hit, outshot, and they are not winning the face-off battles either, Garrett.
I think everybody's starting to get a bit restless at this point.
So the face-off in front of the DePaul bench, and Dan Wood, their head coach, played forward. Gathered by Solod, and into the attacking zone they go. Presta has to collect the wobbler, and then fires it in a worm burner that Billis is able to paddle right to his defenseman, Myers. Forward up toward O'Flaherty. He kicks it to his teammate, Kissel. Kissel gets smacked and his head bounces against the glass. Slung into the corner by the netminder. Offenbach, a centering pass, kicked around. Second chance, Kissel. A good save again. Now to Hawkins, who pitchforks it back toward Kissel, the senior and captain for this Indiana team. Rolling around the near side corner, Myers. A centering pass, knocked away off the stick of Wazalo. Again, DePaul able to keep this Indiana attack at bay. Kissel loses an edge and cedes possession. Pushing forward to Solod. He weaves through the defense. Puck is pushed a little bit further out of his reach than he intended. And now Indiana has a little rush of their own. Here comes Chambers by himself. 4-on-1. Sidesteps, gets nudged off the puck and loses possession. Michelli finds it somehow, and then it's a friendly fire incident. Michelli smacks Chambers when he was on his knees. Pass nutmegs Aiden Semino in open ice, and here comes Cohen on the near side. Outside the circle, Billis throws his hands and chops the puck down into the corner. 8 minutes have been played here in the third. Indiana still trailing by 4. Cooting, his shot gets smacked out of the air. And back toward Chambers, batted to Semino now. And he tries to level a pass through the center circle that is kicked by a DePaul skate blade. Change for both sides, a wholesale change eventually. And the pass deflected up by Secor will give him a chance to rush over to the bench and get a pair of fresh legs for him.
We haven't had a whistle in about a couple minutes here, Wex. It's been back and forth this whole entire period.
Backhand shot by Gustafson, closed in by the legs of Motu. A very good save in close quarters, slamming his legs together. 11:03 remaining now in the third period. We are almost at the halfway mark of this frame. And Indiana seems to have gathered themselves a little bit, but they are still in dire straits.
They still haven't cut into that 4-goal deficit at all, and as we approach the halfway point of the period, it's going to take not quite a miracle, but pretty close to it.
Played forward onto a DePaul stick before Timmons stops that rush. Another big sidestep. Billis doesn't have to make a save on that sharp angled shot. Gustafson charging into the corner, and it's played by Leo Warner. A no-look pass to no one in particular. Kicked forward to DiLorenzo. Wobbling puck, squibs across the center circle. DiLorenzo gets smacked around from behind and then gets hooked as he is slung into the boards, butt first. Gustafson gets stood up. And the puck screaming into the Indiana defensive third yet again. 10.5 to go. DePaul a change. And Indiana trying to push a man all the way into the bench. My goodness, Leptic nearly had himself a head-first vantage point of the Indiana Pine. Little dipsy-do pass all the way for Brock Ash. Beating him to the puck is Myers. He cruises through his own trapezoid and then gets smacked headfirst into the boards, and that'll be a boarding call. So for the second time, the captain of DePaul, Brock Ash, will get to sit in the sin bin, and we'll have to wait to see whether it's a deuce or a nickel.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to get him for a deuce on this one. And it looks like they're putting Leptich, or no, they were just sending him to the bench in a timely manner. It is Brock Ash going to the box.
Well, the plethora of goals for DePaul are not unexpected if you ask Dan Wood, their head coach. In a pregame broadcast interview, he said that, quote, scoring has come in bunches from a lot of different people on this team, end quote. And he was not wrong, Garrett. Guys are passing the puck and moving it around. Indiana will go on the power play. They're 1 for 3 thus far, and a whistle's been blown already for a high stick. 9:52 in the third. We are past now the halfway point of the frame. And with that, it looks like this will be a 4-on-4 favoring the DePaul Blue Demons eventually. So the Kenilworth native Jack O'Flaherty, the sophomore, will head to the box and slam the door behind him. 9:52 up on the board, and he'll get a misdemeanor as well, Garrett.
We've seen that happen a few times over the past couple weeks. Indiana gets a power play, and then they immediately commit a penalty. You just can't have that if you want to win games. It's not going to work.
Played forwards, tape to tape. Michelli lobs it forward to McDonald. A good 4-on-4 rush for Indiana. McDonald twirls around, pirouetting away from a hit. Smacks it off the boards, and Warner plays it back into the corner. Michelli working the outside of the circle in the high slot. A shot through traffic, gloved by Motu in front of his own face.
Nice save made right there, and 9.5 to go in this one. It's just a matter of how long these 9.5 minutes will take.
Through 10+ turns around the clock, Indiana still being outshot 7-5 after outshooting their opponents 18-13 in that second period, Garrett. Indiana wins the draw in the attacking third again. A pass slung by McDonald over toward Michelli off a deflection. McDonald again, a give and go along the goal line, punched away into the corner by Motu. Really active netminder in this evening's game. Jeremy tosses a wobbler to the high slot. Fed outside the circle. McDonald moves from the hashes and works the blue line. Still a 4-on-4 centering pass. Warner gets turned around. Michelli, a quick, sharp angled shot right off the corner. A minute even left on this 4-on-4 before it becomes a DePaul advantage. Jeremy with some space. A centering pass does not find the tape of McDonald. Played forward, and here comes Michael Helf on a rush. Into space, here's Lee. He gets shouldered, and a quick top shelf score. Michael Helf adds to the problems and rows the boat. 8-3 the score with 8:44 to go. A 4-on-4 goal for the Blue Demons, and Indiana are looking shocked, standing along their own bench.
I think that would be the perfect way to describe it for everybody watching on the Indiana side of things. They came out strong and just completely lost all the gas.
Garrett, it looks like one of the alternate captains for Indiana, Will Jeremy, is being shown the gate. So yet another game where Indiana has a star player sent to the showers early, and now a change has been made in net. 8 goals is a season-high goals allowed for Sammy Billis. And stepping into the cage is Brandon McCaskey from Ramsey, New Jersey. He's 1-0 this season, and this will be a bullpen appearance for him.
And does that take Jeremy out of tomorrow's game?
Well, Garrett, depending on how the ACHA and the officials in this game decide to score it, we'll have to see. Depends on whether it is a DQ or just a game misconduct. Again, some rules changes in the ACHA this year change how things are scored, and you could receive a 1-game suspension, sort of like a red card in soccer in certain situations if the officials believe that the penalty or the infraction committed was severe enough to warrant such a decision.
And I'm not sure if this has to be why he got thrown out. I know after the goal was scored, he basically took a slap shot and sent the puck all the way down the ice. And I think the officials did not like that too much.
Well, up on the board, it looks like the DePaul side will be down a man. Now Michael Helf is sitting in the box with his lid popped off. Garrett, it's going to be a 4-on-3 for Indiana. for the next 43 seconds. And immediately off the draw, we have a DePaul skater head first into the ice. 3-on-2, quick shot, second chance, Castricani up into the air, wobbler, Gustafson finished it and scores. A power play goal for Indiana right after they seeded a goal of their own. And McCaskey doesn't have to face a shot before he is +1 on the night.
And now they're putting Gustafson in the box. What is going on?
It's a carousel or a revolving door, pick your poison. And Tommy McDonald, with a letter on his sweater, is converging to figure out what the issue was. Nonetheless, the score 8-4 with 8:32 remaining in this final period of regulation. And still a 4-goal deficit that Indiana has to overcome. They'd have to score about a goal every 2 minutes, Garrett.
Man, I was like, there's no way Gusty's going to the box, is he?
And now he's being
done?
tossed too, Garrett. Well, we'll have to wait for the score sheet after the game. Goodness knows the referees will have to sign off after adding a few extra lines of text, as they do when these situations arise, Garrett. And what an evening of hockey we've had here at the Johnny's Ice House in Chicago.
When's the last time you think somebody got sent off after scoring a goal?
Well, I can imagine that it might have happened to our good buddy Tommy McDonald last year, but I don't remember specifically. That would be my best guess, Garrett.
I mean, good Lord. I just don't know.
Well, we'll send it to a quick break while the herd of zebras sorts everything out. 8-4 the score with 8.5 to go in the third, and it might be an Indiana power play goal. It might not be. We'll see if they take it off. Alongside Garrett Drake, I'm Sam Weixler here on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network. So the goal will stand, but Jack Gustafson, after getting goal number 9 of the season, is shown the gate. And it will now be a 4-on-3 in favor of the Blue Demons. Under 8.5 to play, Indiana on a shorthanded rush here. McDonald slides around. Hawkins chips it up and into the corner where Castricani charges him down. Redirected through the corner and played all the way across, and a brilliant stretch pass over to Pitlick. To Billy Passion, it's kicked away from him. Lee, centering pass, goes to no one in the white sweater and bounces in front of the Indiana bench. 3-on-1 rush. McDonald has it, thinks about it, shot. Good waffle board save. Bouncing right in front of the crease again, McDonald chasing his own shot down. A 5-minute major up on the board. That is Jack Gustafson's sin committed, and serving it for him is Nano Arana, who had the opening goal of this game for Indiana. Leptic chases it down, feeds it in front. Sliding around, bodies are colliding. One Indiana skater's down on his knees. A good rush coming for Indiana. DiLorenzo with Chambers in tow. DiLorenzo toe drags. Leaves it for Simino after the poke check. Smacking it away. And Passion has his pocket picked as McCaskey corrals it right in front of his own net. 7-1-7 here in period number 3. And Indiana trailing by 4 after a power play goal by Jack Gustafson was immediately followed by an ejection of the aforementioned Gusty.
Well, we've seen it all today, Wex, no question about that. It only makes you want to look ahead to tomorrow and see if we'll see anything else that we haven't seen yet.
Offensive draw won by the Blue Demons, punched against the glass and into center ice. Here comes DiLorenzo on a shorthanded rush. Little Hezzy Hay sidesteps a man, goes down to his knees and plays it from his shin pads back toward Chambers. No look pass, centering. No sweaters were there. It's still a 5-on-4 power play, and this is a major, Garrett. Played with a high stick in center ice. Warner deflects it and prevents an easy stretch pass. Into the corner after a red sweater got bundled. Good stick handling, centering pass, and it was Newton who couldn't reach out and find it. Under 7 to go. One-timer right in front, and now the whistle's been blown. It looks like the net came off its moorings. So 6:35, and now some more jawing and chirping back and forth will result in a whistle, and it may also result in Chambers being sent to the box.
Looks like he's going to stay on here, thankfully. Hopefully nobody else goes into the box for the rest of this 6.5 minutes here.
Well, for the young man with the long hair working the score sheet, he's going to run out of ink soon, Garrett. There have been penalties aplenty and goals aplenty, 12 to be exact. And I know for a fact he's running out of ink because our statistician behind us, Andrew Gus, had to switch out his mechanical pencil because there wasn't enough lead left in it. Maloney controls the draw to the paddle side of McCaskey, coming in relief for Billis. Weaving around, Leptic gets squished against the glass and plays it into the corner where Passion does a little sidestep motion. Lee holds it in from the slot to the backside. Hall thinks about a shot. A good one-timer, punched into the air and bouncing on top of the cage where Leo Warner puts his hand on top of it temporarily and lets it come to a spinning stop right next to the water bottle with 6 and 7 to go here in the third. Still 2:34 remaining on the major power play that DePaul has yet to take advantage of. But in their defense, Garrett, it was a 4-on-3 situation for a little bit.
Yeah, they were really buzzing around during that period as well, and fortunately for Brendan McCaskey, that shot drew iron and landed on top of the breadbasket.
Intercepted by Michelli in his own zone. He can't clear it. Newton moves in and thrusts it into the corner yet again. Through the trapezoid, Timmons collects it. He's shadowed by a white sweater, and it's bobbled around by Manarino. Little dump off pass to Ash. He absorbs a big check. Outside the circle, quick shot just past the far post. Collected in front of the Indiana bench by a white sweater. Now back to Ash at the dot. Fed in front, wobbler and scores. Right past McCaskey's glove. A deflection goal makes it 9-4 with 5:33 to go in the third, matching the score that Indiana beat Xavier by last weekend. And a hat trick has been announced thanks to some of the fans who have thrown an old Chicago Bears bucket hat onto the ice.
Well, now he's going to get to keep those hats as well, add them to the collection. One of the pros of scoring a hat trick. Usually we don't get to see that due to the netting. But here at Johnny's, the fans have direct access if they choose to throw something onto the ice.
And the nice thing about being one of only 2 people to throw your lid onto the ice, you probably get the right hat back instead of having to go collect it at the team store or lose it altogether.
And now Plotke is actually wearing the Bears snapback on top of his helmet. He was momentarily.
Well, that's Steez, Garrett. Played to the backside. Billy Passion working around. A power play goal, but it was a major penalty, so Indiana still shorthanded for another minute 45. Indiana's power play has struggled this season, and now their penalty kill is starting to show some signs of weakness as well. Gliding backhand stopped by McCaskey, who stood his ground. Castracani using his body to shield the puck from an opponent. Gets his pocket picked. Now Michael Houth moving in. Leaves it up for Leptic. A quick shot, he scores! A wicked wrister from Leptic. 4:53 to go in the third, and double digits on the board for the men in white sweaters, the Blue Demons. Indiana now getting embarrassed, Garrett.
Yeah, if they weren't before, they definitely should be now. This is going to be the highest total they've allowed all season, and just a rough showing. There's not much else to say about it, really. We can only say so much.
Well, time to call off the dogs and put out the fire over the next 4 minutes and change. Indiana just trying to get this to the dressing room without another incident. Here comes Brandenburg, dangling, kicks it to Simino, who can't hold on. Still a power play after the major penalty by Jack Gustafson earlier on after scoring his goal. Passed through the center circle, batted down, and collected by Solod. He jams a man into the boards. That's Brandenburg, who dumps it to Simino. He gets hit from behind, and his centering pass swings over toward Goodfellow. Swing and a miss by Goody after trying to line up a big shot. Now a 2-on-2 rush onto the far side. Feathered over to the Theodosopoulos, kicked in front. McCaskey makes a little bit of a save, and redirects the puck just enough. Now toward the stick of Presta. Shot blocked and back to Solod working the blue line. Solod fakes a slap shot and plays it outside the near circle. Presta back to Solod. This time he swings and it's high and wide. Into the corner it ricochets where Will Kicker gets smacked around. Finally, Indiana able to clear, and 5 seconds will tick off on this major power play after some serious damage done by DePaul.
And Wex, I'd be curious to know what the time on attack is for both teams, because I think if we looked at the numbers, DePaul would have at least double what Indiana has thus far.
Well, shots on goal, if those are any indicator, 12-8 for Indiana, for DePaul rather. An abysmal third period for the Hoosiers in a road game that they really felt confident about coming in. Griffin Timmons stands his man up, and then Leo Warner lays the shoulder into him, smacking him on top of the bucket as he goes sliding, skates first into the wall. Now Arana moves in, thinks about it quick. Shot is kicked away into the corner, and Michele gets spun around. Push toward Timmons, through the high slot, glove down, and back off the window. Warner a swing and a drive. Ricochet bouncing off the glass. Again, Arana pulls it to himself, and then to Chambers. Chambers gets sandwiched, and a rugby scrum ensues. Arana gives a man a little shove, and then another nudge, pushing off the captain, Brock Ash. Michele a shot, bouncing, and it scores! Well, if it's any consolation, it's only a double up instead of a 10-4. It's now 10-5 in favor of DePaul with 2:31 to go in the third. And that is about as disappointing a goal celebration you'll ever see from nearly any player at any level in this game, Garrett.
Yeah, that's about all you can do. You know you're going to hear about it if you show any emotion when you're down by 6, but nice tuck by Michele right there. Still got to give him credit.
Well, the wind is out of their sails, although a late goal added up to the board. Here comes DiLorenzo. He can't weave through the trio of white sweaters and then sends a man onto one knee before he regains his edge. That was Brass Penix. Kissel flicks the puck to himself into the air, and Plotke gathers it in the corner on the near side. Plotke collides with another 25 on the ice. That was Brandenburg, and then Kissel laying a shoulder around. Brandenburg sauces a pass up to Kissel now. His backhand shot is stymied, and Marcelletti moves forward, clearing the zone. Indiana on a change, 5-on-5 with 1:40 to go. O'Flaherty gets a hit up high, and Kissel playing forward. Sidesteps a man, shot is pushed away. O'Flaherty a one-timer from a sharp angle, and now a big collision in the corner as Kissel goes down, getting table-topped by two different white sweaters. And it looks like most of the energy has gone out of the building as there is no extra pushing and shoving like there was in the first or second period, Garrett.
Yeah, the boys calmed down a little bit, as if the game was closer, tempers might have boiled over right there, but we have seen some late hits and some major penalties, obviously, so you got to think everybody will have that on their mind when we get to tomorrow's contest as Kissel heads to the bench for Semino here.
Well, Indiana will have around 24 hours to think about their actions and figure out how they want to play tomorrow. Really going to have to regroup and put the horses back in the chute in every sense. A rough third period, and you can't really sugarcoat it, Garrett. 10-5 the score here on the road to a team that Indiana expected to hang with, if not beat outright. Semino pulls it to himself, feathers it to Hawkins at the high slot. Through traffic, deflected down by Arana. A minute to go here in Chicago at the Johnny's Ice Center West. Again, pulled away from his own goal line and sent all the way on a stretch pass to Theodosopoulos. Stick handle, shoots, misses the mark completely. Chopped out by Hawkins, and then wins it back for himself. Semino fighting viciously, trying to make something happen in the waning moments of this game. Brass Penix knocks it against the boards on the near side, and Marcelletti takes a stroll through his own neighborhood, trying to work some of this clock off. 30 seconds to go. Brandenburg chopping furiously, trying to knock down a tree back behind the cage, and pushes the puck against the boards. Red sweaters collide with one another, and it nearly smacks Dan Wood, the head coach of DePaul, in the head. Now played forward, stick handling, dangling right in front. Into the cage head first goes the DePaul skater with 11 seconds to go. McCaskey was backed up as far as he could go into his own net, and a scary collision with 59 minutes and 50 seconds played in this game, Garrett. Not the way you want to see a game end for either side.
And DePaul really hasn't taken their foot off the gas here. They're trying to light the scoreboard up as much as they can. Indiana just has to make it through 11 more seconds before they look to tomorrow.
Shots on goal, nearing even, but still in favor of the Blue Demons, 13-12. The hits, however, still DePaul controlling, 9-5. Off the draw with 10 seconds to go. Now half a dozen seconds, and Indiana trying to clear it out of their own zone. And Garrett, a disappointing performance on Friday night in a road game that they really wanted to have. 10-5 the final score. Indiana, a shellacking delivered to them with their #1 netminder on the ice by the DePaul Blue Demons, who now advance to 15-1 overall, and will have plenty of momentum going into tomorrow night against the Hoosiers, who are now 10-8-0 on the season.
Yep, they're going to have a lot of work to do. Going to have to hit the drawing board tonight. It's going to be a long few hours waiting for game time tomorrow.
Final shots on goal in this third period, 13-12 in favor of DePaul. Hits 9-6, and the face-offs, DePaul won that as well, Garrett, 6-5. So after Indiana controlled pretty much all three statistical categories in the first 40 minutes, they really could not keep the momentum into the final frame, coming in trailing by 3 goals. Overall, a rough night that you want to just wash and tuck into your back pocket and get ready for the next one.
Just got to flush it. Get ready for tomorrow and give it your best shot. You don't want to go home after getting swept, especially with all the travel and playing at a nice rink. Got to get a dub.
Well, the boys will hit the showers and we'll hit the road and spend the night here in the Windy City before putting all the equipment back down on the table tomorrow night here at the Johnny's Ice House, Chicago West, alongside Garrett Drake, our statistical and pregame, postgame specialist Andrew Gus, Ben Stannard, and Marina on the camera. I am Sam Weixler. Stick around for the postgame show. Goose will give you all the stats, totals, and figures. Thank you so much for listening. So long and good night from Chicago, Illinois. The final score 10-5. DePaul tops Indiana on their home ice. This is the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network.